Tips with Toni. Tips with Toni. All about nutrition from your favorite dietitian. Everything you need to digest in your mind. Tips with Toni. Tips with Toni. Making you healthier one bite at a time. Tip with Toni. Woo.
Hello, and welcome to the Tips with Toni podcast. I'm Toni Marinucci, your registered dietitian, helping you get healthy one bite at a time. In this episode, I interview a nutrition coach who's also a good friend of mine. Her name is Kelly Collier, and she really goes in depth about the struggles she's had with emotional eating, mental health and depression, her own issues with her body image, and she really lets us in. And I give her a lot of kind of credit, honestly, to just being really brave and vulnerable and letting us know that we're not alone. Some of you might listen to this and you might be like, oh, I've never been that far down, the rabbit hole. Or you might think like, oh, I'm borderline there, or wow, I'm there. At any point in your journey, if you feel any inkling of needing help, you need to reach out for it. And you're going to learn why it's so critical in this episode. I will say she does talk about her history of an eating disorder. So if you are someone who is recovering or currently going through or believes that you might not be able to listen to this without it triggering you to relapse, please do not listen. If you feel at any point like you're okay with listening and then it starts to trigger you, turn it off. But if you really want to see how she came out of that and what she's doing now and how she's helped herself and is now helping others to have a healthier relationship with food, then I definitely encourage you to listen. So without further ado, here's a really inspiring episode with my good friend, nutrition coach, Kelly Collier. Enjoy. Hi, Kelly. How are you?
Hey, girl. Hey. I'm fantastic. How are you doing?
I'm doing so well. I'm so excited to talk with you today.
No, me too.
Yeah. So Kelly and I are in the same mentorship. So you guys heard from Andreas last week. I'm going to start having more of them on here just because everybody in our mentorship is just so knowledgeable and they provide so much value and they really know their stuff. They really are the experts. So it's just exciting to...
And we're the bomb.
Yeah. So anyways, I'm going to let you introduce yourself. Tell everyone who you are, what you do, and why.
Thank you so much, first of all, just for having me. I've loved you since the moment I met you in New York. So I'm super excited to be here. Yeah, my name is Kelly Collier. I'm an online nutrition coach in the great state of Texas. I live in Dallas, originally from Austin. So keep Austin weird. And I've had my company now, my business, technically for a year. Oh my gosh, coming up on my anniversary when I got my LLC. But, I've been coaching nutrition for about a year and a half now. I've been a CrossFit coach for almost 3 years as well. So I'm an athlete. I CrossFit. I am a competitive Olympic weightlifter here in Dallas. I do all the things. I do all the fitness things. I'm in sales as well. So I design commercial fitness centers, fitness facilities. And so I sell commercial fitness equipment. I've done that for about 5 years. So really just I've built my life around
yeah.
Right. And just, all the things that light me up and that I'm passionate about and I have fun with. So that's what I do here in Dallas.
That's
currently.
So awesome. What made you get into fitness? Is it something you grew up with, or is that something you found maybe when you were older?
Not at all. I mean, as a kid, I dabbled in sports here and there growing up. Nothing really ever stuck. Well, I guess I was a competitive gymnast for probably that's the longest streak that I had as a kid. Dabbled in dance in high school. But after that, nothing. I just fell off the face of the fitness planet, to be honest. And I moved to Dallas about 6 years ago, and I started leasing apartments. That was my first job here. So it was quick, fast money, good commission. I got a discounted apartment.
Nice.
Awesome. And then I myself started my own fitness and nutrition journey. And I just became known as like the fitness girl in the leasing office, right? And I started losing weight, getting really toned. Just my mood was changing. I was just changing the person that I was. I was turning into this brand new human, and people were just noticing, and I fell in love with it. And it became kind of like my passion on the side, really. And then a woman walked into our leasing office and was like, "Hey, I'm here to check out your fitness center." And I was like, "Why are you checking out our fitness center?" She's like, "Well, I'm selling you guys fitness equipment." And I was like, "What? That sounds like a freaking awesome job." So I just, chased after that, got a job with a company, and everything just started snowballing from there. I started getting certifications. My company would send me to get different certifications in different fitness, modalities and stuff, and stumbled into CrossFit, got my CrossFit certification, started coaching. I've done a little bit of everything: bodybuilding, spin, CrossFit, now weightlifting. So I just kind of feel like a jack of all trades. But this wasn't always my life at all whatsoever.
That's interesting. I feel like most people who you find in fitness now grew up with a sports background.
Yeah.
It's very rare that you find it after, because not for nothing, that's actually that shows a lot about your character of like how brave you were to just get into the gym. Like, I feel like the only reason why I'm confident in working out now is because I grew up in the gym. Like, I grew up when I played basketball, like we would go to the weight room, and like I learned that as a teenager. Right. But I can't imagine for all the people listening who I have a client now, we're literally working out. She has a fear of the gym. There's a lot of, she just won't go in there. And we're working on it. And I know it's going to take time and patience, but there's a lot of fear around that. Like, how was that for you? Can you remember back? Can you remember like all the way back to like how it was going in there? Like, how did you know what to do?
So to be honest, okay. So I started out, the first gym I started going to when I started in bodybuilding was kind of like step one into fitness. I started going to my apartment office gym. Mm-hmm. It's small. There's rarely anyone ever in there. Mm-hmm. These days, fitness is so big and so just a part of life now in the world and our lifestyles, that having a really amazing fitness facility in an apartment property is at the top of the most important list for a property to have. So they're getting better and better and better. And the quality of equipment that's in there, the things that are available to the residents, are just so much better than they ever were in the past. Because fitness and health is just booming. It's exploding, Yeah. So, if you have that available to you at your fingertips, that's where I would start, somewhere small. But, I have clients that, don't have that. So I get them, if they have like a Globo Gym membership, like 24-hour fitness or Gold's Gym or whatever, those places have trainers on hand for free. You don't have to pay them anything, that will walk you through the entire facility, like show you everything that's in there, introduce you to people, show you how to work all of the equipment, what kind of exercises to be doing. They could probably even write you a little workout program that might be part of their job. I don't know. But it's just, it's all available to you. Like everything is figure outable. You just got to show up. You just got to get in that facility, get in the room, ask questions, start talking to people. And one of the things I always tell my clients when they're afraid or, they're scared, they're anxious, maybe they're embarrassed, because everyone in there seems to know what they're doing and they have no clue and they don't want to look like an idiot, right? No one in there is even aware that you are existing, that you're there, that you're next to them, that you're doing anything. They are
they're in their own head.
Themselves.
Yes.
And they are so focused on what they are looking like. And if they look like an idiot, and if anybody's watching them and what they're doing, like no one is even noticing you, girlfriend. So just get in there. Like everyone else probably feels the exact same way you do, and as scared, as embarrassed as you are. And if they're not, it's so funny. I'll have, my women clients go in there and they'll come back home and write me an email and tell me about how these like big, beefy bodybuilder guys saw them working out and were just complimenting them, telling them how like proud they were of her, or how impressed they were that she was in there. They've never seen her before, wanted to get to know her. Like, you're always going to think the worst of something until you just get in there and do it. And it will always be, nothing that you imagine, or the exact opposite.
Yeah.
But for me, how I got started, part of my story, I was at rock bottom in my life, to be honest, with myself, my self-image, my body image, my relationship to myself, my self-worth, my self-love. I was just in a really, really, really dark place that took years and years and years for me to get to. But when I first started my fitness and nutrition journey, my health and wellness journey, I was at rock bottom. I had nothing left to lose. And I just had no other option, to be honest. I had no other choice but to make some radical changes in my life. And that was one of them. And I was sick of my life. I hated myself. I hated my life. I was sick of the way I was living. And I just, made a choice one day and made a decision that I have to do something. And I don't care what it takes. Like, I'm just going to do it. I'm going to be the exact opposite of the human that I am today. I'm going to wake up tomorrow and I'm going to do everything that I was ever afraid of doing, because I have to at this point. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So, I know a little bit about your story, but for the people listening who don't know, can you tell us a little bit more about that? Like, what exactly were you going through that kind of brought you to that rock bottom place?
Yeah. So I have battled mental health and depression pretty much my entire life from a very early age. And my first, really, really bad, dark, deep battle with depression, I think, came on around early college. And I dropped a ton of weight. I got really, really sick. I dropped a ton of weight because I wasn't eating. I wasn't moving. I wouldn't leave my bed. I wouldn't leave my couch if I even made it to my couch on some days. I was just in a really dark, depressed hole. And I dropped a ton of weight. And it's funny because at that point, everyone was telling me how great I looked, to be honest.
So crazy. Yes, let's pause on that for a moment.
Yeah.
So we need to talk about this. One thing that I learned really early on, and I will never forget, I was in my sophomore year at school, becoming a dietitian, and my professor said this when we were talking about nutrition and weight loss and stuff. And she said, never, ever tell someone, oh, it looks like you lost weight, you look great, or anything like that. Just say, I can see a difference.
Yeah.
And ask, how did you do it? Are you okay? Because not everybody loses weight in a healthy way. Yeah. So it could be something. It could be your mental health is falling apart, or it could be you're on this crazy restrictive diet that you're losing all this weight, but you're actually miserable and it's not sustainable, and it's also not healthy. You're lacking nutrition. So, sorry. We needed to pause on that for a moment, because it's so sad that someone sees someone lose weight and they automatically assume that it was a great thing. You can tell when someone's exuding happiness and joy from their weight loss journey, and then versus people who just kind of look not well.
Yeah.
There's a big difference.
Absolutely. A massive difference on the outside. And you don't know, maybe that person is just in so much pain internally, and they don't have anyone to turn to, and they don't know what to say or how to ask for help. And, maybe you say the wrong thing and you're just pushing them further. They're too embarrassed to say that something's wrong, because everyone else thinks that it's an amazing accomplishment. Why would anything be wrong? It's embarrassing. So they just push it even further down, I think. But at that point, I went to see a doctor. I come from a family that's battled mental health forever, so I kind of grew up in this environment. Maybe it was my environment, maybe it's hereditary, I don't know. But my whole family deals with it. I grew up around massive limiting beliefs and scarcity, deep-rooted scarcity mindset, just, zero self-worth, all, the whole gamut. So I feel like it wasn't really something I could have avoided, to be honest. It was just part, that was my plan, the plan of my life. It was going to happen to me. I went to see a doctor, put me on all sorts of, antidepressants, medications. And at that point, I ballooned up. I gained easily 50 plus, maybe 60 pounds, the heaviest I'd ever been. And I mean, the antidepressants, they did their job. They leveled me out, but I was just like so numb to the world, and I was on them for, a long enough time to start kind of wondering to myself, maybe I'm extremely happy right now, but I wouldn't be able to feel it because I'm just pulled out, They're keeping me from being real low. But what if I was like way up here, and I would never be able to know. And I'm, keeping myself from that. I don't know if that has any truth to it or not, but I just started thinking about it. You know what? I'm just going to stop all of these medications, which I do not recommend to anyone. But that's exactly what I did. I just tossed them all out, stopped cold turkey. And I actually went to see a hormone doctor. I use air quotes on that. Hormone specialist, because I thought, maybe there's something wrong with my body. I put on all this weight. Maybe there's something going on that I need to fix, right? He told me my hormones were just all out of whack. And I needed to be put on this thing, that thing, and the other thing, all these creams, whatever. And he also sold me his book at the same time.
Oh, God.
Yeah. And that's, he scared the shit out of me. He told me my problem was my weight, and I needed to lose a massive amount of weight ASAP, or, I was going down a really, really bad path. So that's when my battles with my weight and my diet started. My yo-yo diet, my diet depression is what I call it. And I just started starving myself, because it had worked at first in the beginning when I was depressed, right? And I dropped all that weight. I was, the lightest I'd ever been. I weighed less than 100 pounds. Good Lord. So why not just try that again, but, on purpose. Wow. So I literally just every day, my goal, I woke up and I tried to eat absolutely nothing. 0 calories was my goal, every day. And then also run as far and as long as I could possibly run. I hated running. It's like, I couldn't stand it, but I forced myself to do it. I started signing up for all these races I thought would force me to get up and run every morning to practice and get better at it. So I did a few races, but, it just started this cycle of really just self-hatred, because you can't just not eat every day of your life. That's not possible, right? I would go to the grocery store and I would buy boxes and boxes of Slim Fast shakes, and just fill my cart with Campbell's like chicken broth and beef broth, just liquids, nothing but liquids. Like, I thought that was the answer. I thought that was health, how to get myself healthy. I thought that was fit. I thought that was fitness, and, all these beautiful people on the cover of magazines, or, people I would see running miles down the side of the road, outside, that had, these wonderful fit lives, I just wanted to be that. And I wanted to stop hating myself and hating my body and hating my life. And that was all I knew. Like, I didn't know what else to do. And, it just started this years and years of battling with depression, with my weight, with my body, with food, my self-esteem. And I eventually, it got to the point where I was restricting so much day after day after day that I would binge. I would start binging.
Mm-hmm.
I would just binge on everything I could get my hands on. And I was emotionally eating as well because I was just so sad and just so like empty inside and lost and just void. So I was emotionally eating, stress eating. I mean, every time I'm eating you could think of. And then, that eventually morphed into purging. I would restrict, I would binge, and then I would purge just out of fear, really fear of everything I was eating, and physical pain. Like I was putting myself in horrific physical pain by the amount of food that I was consuming. And I would it got to the point where I was literally purging every single thing that I would consume, everything that I would eat. Suddenly I was afraid of having food in my body. Like even just that feeling of having something in my stomach. I just got so used to being empty all the time. And eating food just consumed me with massive anxiety and fear, no matter what it was. And it just became so, such a habit and normal and just part of my life, and I would do it anywhere, like whether I was, at an event, at a restaurant, out with friends, at the movies, like anytime I would eat something, I would go and get rid of it. And, I don't want to talk about these issues and these things so lightly. I'm sure there are people out there listening that are dealing with these things. I mean, what is it, like over 90% of women have some type of disordered eating habits or issue with their body. You know what I mean? So I definitely don't want to talk lightly about them, but, I just talk about them so openly because I want people to know that this is so common, so freaking common, but no one talks about it, and I think it needs to be talked about more, because like I did at that time, I was so alone, and I didn't know what to do, where to go, who to turn to, who to talk to, what I could even say to anyone to make them understand what I was doing, what I was going through, how I was feeling. I didn't think anyone would get it or even know what to do. So I just felt like it was something that I had to live with on my own. And this was just going to be my life. I didn't know if it was something I was ever going to stop, or if it was something I could ever get over or get through or heal, or if that was just going to be the rest of my life, And that went on for years and years, until I finally moved here to Dallas. Like I said, I just kind of hit rock bottom. All of my problems came with me and followed me here. And I hired my very first coach. My first coach, a girlfriend of mine, who had done like a bikini competition on stage, right? And so she wanted to turn into a personal trainer. She reached out to me. She asked if I would be one of her very first clients. She didn't know what I was going through at the time, but she was like my guardian angel, I kid you not, because she reached out to me at the exact perfect moment in my life that I needed her, and I needed this. And she introduced me to lifting weights. No more running, no more cardio, hours and hours. Lifting weights and flexible dieting and counting macros. And it was just like this whole new world opened up to me that I never knew existed. I had no clue that girls could lift weights and that you could, eat protein and not turn into, the Hulk overnight. And that you could actually eat more food. Like she was feeding me so much food, and my body just changed so rapidly, so quickly. I lost a ton of weight, I toned up, I built some muscle, and just, I think it was the outward, like, change of my body, just almost like sparked something in my brain that had never been touched before. It had never kind of like opened up to me or occurred to me. And I went from such a like rigid, just closed mindset to just like this growth mindset all of a sudden. Like I have the power to change my body. Like I can do whatever I want. Like I can become whoever I choose to become. I have so much power inside of me that I never realized, I never knew was there. And so I just started like reading books, like self-development and growth books, and listening to podcasts, and like doing all these awesome, amazing things for my brain, my mind, my self-development, right? And it all just started with fitness and nutrition. You know, when I get new clients, you know, they want to fix their food, right? They want to lose some weight, but it just opens up, you know, it's a gate to just this whole world and changing your entire life. It's just a doorway to massive growth and development as a person on this planet in your life. And it's an amazing thing. And, you know, it all starts with food, you know, macro, really, you know.
100%. Well, first of all, Kelly, thank you so much for sharing that. I definitely I'm going to put it in the beginning of the episode, and I'm going to just say it now. You know, the reason why you mentioned why, you know, people don't talk about it enough. And I completely agree with you. I think it should be spoken about more, but it can be very triggering for people. So if you are feeling triggered right now, just turn it off. If you're not ready to hear this, if you feel it's going to bring you to a relapse, just turn it off and talk to the person that you know is going to help you. With that being said, if you can listen to the message, right? The message is that if you can learn how to control your eating in a healthy way, in a balanced way, not in a restrictive way, then you're going to gain the confidence to do anything you want in life.
Yeah.
And so I think that's the beautiful part about your message. I also wanted to kind of make a note of, I think the very interesting thing is, one thing I want to always highlight is the concept of under eating to lose weight is so common. And it's the thing that, you know, I don't think people recognize enough is the point where you were under eating and then purging was you were at your highest weight, right? Then when you chose to start eating more of the right foods in a controlled manner, you were at your fittest weight. Right? So I think that's like a really big thing. Like if you take away nothing inspirational, motivational, which you totally should, because this is like a best talk ever. But if you want to like really just go back to like what's going to help me, it's going to be like eating the right foods at the right amounts at the right times, and stop trying to restrict your intake, because it will only lead to overeating. As mammals, we need to eat. It's a natural thing that's going to happen. So stop trying to fight it. And just embrace healthier and more nutritious foods.
Absolutely. And it's such a hard concept for people to wrap their brains around and to accept, and then to actually apply and do it.
That's the hardest part. Yeah.
We've just been conditioned our whole lives to think one way: eat less, do more, you know, like spend your life in the gym, spend your life on the treadmill, like hate your body, hate your life, be miserable, right? Restrict. What else can I stop eating? What else can I pull from my diet? But you have to eat more food for your body to lose fat. And it's just like, it's monumental when people just trust, just, you know, give me a few weeks of your life, you know, just give me a few weeks to show you this. And when you just trust and then you see it for yourself, like you're never the same person again. And what I did when this happened to me was I just wanted to shout this from the freaking rooftop. I've had my entire life and I didn't know this. I had no idea. Like, who else in this world, how many other women have no clue? And they're struggling as much as I was, and in so much pain and confusion and so lost and hating themselves and hating their body and hating their life, because they have no idea. No one's teaching this. Like, no one's talking about it. I mean, this was back then. Now I feel like, you know, this concept and just fitness and nutrition in general has just blown up and grown so much. But at that time, I was literally texting everyone I could text, like my progress photos, like, look what I'm doing. Like, look what's happening. I'm eating all this food. Like, you have to do this. And, just trying to show proof to people, and just wanting to spread this message, this gospel, really. Mm-hmm. Like, you can eat more food. Like, you can eat as much as you, well, not, I shouldn't say that, but you're happy, right?
Yeah.
And you love food, and you cannot restrict, and you can eat the things that you enjoy and eat things that make you happy, and it will change your life. And you have the power to create the body that you want, that you've always wanted. You can change your physical body, and create that dream body with the power of food and lifting weights, of course. But food is just like my first love.
Can you tell everyone we're not done yet. I usually say this till the end, but just because it came up with like eating all the foods that you enjoy, what's your handle on Instagram?
Will Squat for Pizza.
I love it.
Handle on all of the social medias. That was my very original Instagram name, and I've never.
Are you going to change it? I feel like a lot of people are changing theirs. I don't think I could ever change mine.
Nah.
Yeah.
Because it's almost like it's taken on a life of its own. Like, that's how everyone knows it. Even my pastor at church calls me Will Squat for Pizza. Like, hey, what's up, Will Squat for Pizza? Like, people don't even know my real name anymore. Like, I'm either fitness girl or the pizza girl, depending on who you're talking to. Like, they just call me Will Squat for Pizza. So, but it's just like, it started out just kind of cute and funny. And I thought, it was just, showed my character a little bit and whatever. But I feel like now it's just, people know it, know me by it. And I just feel like for me, it's like a message almost. Mm-hmm. It's like showing people that it's okay to eat pizza, right? Like, it's okay to eat food. All right. And you can like have this amazing life that you're obsessed with and still eat the foods that you want and look the way you want and be healthy. And you don't have to be afraid of food. Literally, I tell people, my body is built on pizza. Like that's, I eat pizza and then I go and I squat or I lift heavy weights, like that's my thing and I enjoy it. And I don't ever have to give that up.
That's amazing. That really is amazing. So kind of circling back a little bit, you said that coach came into your life. So you got a coach, you got the right coach, right? So the other person you had in contact in your journey was the quote unquote hormone specialist who was obviously just trying to sell you a book, trying to scare you and honestly, that makes me so sad because think about like the route you spiraled into. I mean, obviously we always have to take responsibility for our own actions and how we respond to things, but like this guy doesn't even realize like this is the things that we deal with on a regular basis as nutrition professionals, getting these people that come to us with now this fear of trusting anyone because they went through this experience, which is horrifying. So that was not helpful, but then you did get a coach that sounds like was somebody who listened to you, that understood you, that gave you some sort of structure without restriction, quote unquote, that flexible dieting. So that sounds really good. What else did you do? You said listening to personal development books, obviously committing to like fitness and seeing your progress. Was there anything else that you did that helped you kind of come out of that depressive state and just embrace this like better lifestyle?
Yeah, honestly, just taking massive, scary action for myself. I didn't know it at the time, but I think I personally think the maybe quote unquote cure to depression is growth, is forward movement, is taking action, for yourself. Maybe even just like learning something new, just doing something that you don't normally do gets your kind of brain firing differently, working differently, thinking about different things. Go take a class. I just started doing things like getting out of my house. I mean, it all started in the gym with fitness and seeing, my power as a person, that I had value. I had something to give in this world. You know what I mean? Volunteering was really huge for me. I started volunteering because suddenly you are seeing your value because you are giving to other people and you're making a difference in their life, you mean something to them. Mm-hmm. So you obviously have value and worth, you know? Just trying different things, you know, and just trying to find my place in this world, really, because it's like I just woke up and I realized, you know, I'm in this place in my life that I don't like, but I don't know why. Mm-hmm. Something's not right. I don't know why, but that was enough for me to just start doing things to try and figure it out. Mm-hmm. Like, where am I supposed to be? Where should I go? Like, what is my path? And I think that's why I battled with so much depression, because I was just so stagnant and I was just so lost and I was just so small and timid and I didn't believe in myself. But I never really had anyone in my life believing in me and pouring that into me and building me up, right? Kind of shaping me. So I just realized that I needed to be that for myself. Really. So the more, you know, I took from books, I mean, I have one right. This was the very first, You're a Badass.
Jen Sincero.
Very first book I ever read that just changed my life, because it's a very easy read. But it's very
audio. When she's in your head, it's even better.
Yeah. It's just that, you know, that's step one for a lot of my clients for self-development, because it's, you know, very low barrier of entry, very easy read. It's very enjoyable. And it just opens your mind up just to so many more things. And, you know, from there, I just wanted more, you know, my attitude was changing, my look on life, my perspective of things. And I just wanted more. So I started listening to podcasts. You know, my first podcast that I listened to was Lewis Howes. I was like, oh my gosh, what's a podcast? This is crazy. I can listen to all these people, you know, and maybe I don't have these ideas for myself, but I'm like using their ideas, you know, like I'm learning from them. And just growing my mind in that way. So those were two really, really big things for me. And just not being afraid anymore, like not being afraid of life, in the world. I feel like I was so sheltered growing up. You know, even to this day, my parents hate when I travel. They hate when I do anything, you know, scary or what they wouldn't do. It's like they're almost afraid of life. And I know that I would have turned into that. Like that would have became me if I hadn't have, you know, gone through this transformation. And I just think about how much life they've missed out on because they're just afraid of doing anything at all. Taking risks, you know, traveling, just experiencing the world. You know, I love doing crazy stuff just on a whim. And now it's to the point where sometimes I feel like I can't even tell them what I'm doing because they'll just be terrified. And they've gotten upset. They've gotten angry with me sometimes about, you know, I mean, I went on a hot air balloon ride and through Napa Valley. It was the most amazing thing I'd ever done.
Sounds beautiful.
It was amazing.
Yeah.
And they were furious, you know?
Wow.
So just not being afraid of the world and wanting to experience as many things as I can possibly experience before I die. You know what I mean? Just experiencing life. And I don't care if I do it alone, you know, like that also in of itself, it has showed me and proven to me how strong I am and what I can do. You know, just little by little over the years, I started doing things on my own. And now I can just do whatever I want, whenever I want. And I don't care if I'm by myself. I go out to a restaurant and I go to dinner by myself every week. I go to happy hour.
I love that so much. I definitely people should do that more.
You know
have to be able to spend time with yourself. I know, because if you know when you love yourself is when you genuinely love your own company more than somebody else's.
Yep.
And not in a sense of like, oh, I'm going to stay home because I'm miserable and I just don't want to do anything. But in a sense of like, I genuinely rather go to the restaurant by myself than like fakely entertain, quote on this family or friend.
Yeah.
Not going to say who.
I just love doing things, and I love traveling alone. I mean, traveling alone has made me so freaking strong.
Totally.
I can do it. Like,
it's the best experience for sure.
Yeah.
I would say that's probably like the biggest growth I've ever had was my first trip alone. I was in Vegas to Toni's very first mastermind. I jumped off the skyscraper. And everyone was like, "You're crazy." I'm like, I'm living my best life.
Like I would say YOLO.
Yeah, like literally it was the best thing ever.
But also even just, investing in yourself.
Oh, yeah.
Like, spending money on yourself. I started getting certifications or going to classes. Now I have mentors, which is kind of like, really investing in yourself, but, starting small and just kind of like subconsciously telling yourself, like, you're worth this money,
Totally.
You're worth doing this. You're worth learning. You're worth investing into your future, because it'll always come back to you.
Totally. Okay, so I want to quickly wrap up. Oh, are you there?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. Something just happened. Hold on. It's still recording. Oh, wait. I don't see you anymore. Wait, time out. Something just happened. You're still there, which is good. You can. Okay, there we are. That was weird. Mercury is in retrograde.
Mercury is in retrograde.
It's literally just crazy. You guys don't know this, but before we got on the phone, we got on the Zoom call with Kelly. My internet just stopped working. So this is what's happening in 2019. But I want to get into, because this is actually an episode I've been wanting to talk about, because I get a lot of questions about macros, and I know that's what you mainly do. So let's talk a little bit, and let's see how much time we have. Okay. In about 5 minutes, if you could tell us, I know it's a lot, what are macros? How do you count your macros, and kind of how you help your clients?
Yeah, absolutely. Macros, my favorite thing in the world. Macronutrients. All right. So all food is made up of macros: proteins, fats, and carbs. And so I work with my clients based on macro goals that I give them. So just pulling these numbers out of my butt, I'll give a client 135 grams of protein to eat per day, 185 grams of carbs, and maybe 55 grams of fat. And that's their goal that they have to hit every single day, but they can literally eat whatever foods they choose to eat in order to hit those numbers. And the reason why I love flexible dieting so much is because you no longer have to be afraid of food. Because as long as you hit your macros every day, you've won the game. Like you're going to be able to, change your body composition, right? And so I primarily work with athletes or people that are just super passionate about fitness, as I am. And so macros are extremely important when it comes to fitness and, athletes, because you have to be able to not only perform for your sport or whatever fitness modality you're doing, you have to be able to have enough energy to do it, but you also have to have enough energy and calories and macros to recover from what you're putting your body through. If you aren't fueling properly and then you're not recovering properly, your body is not going to do diddly squat. Like, it's going to do the exact opposite of what you want it to do. It's going to look the exact opposite of how you want it to look. It's not going to perform well. You're going to feel like crap. Your energy is going to be through the floor. Sleep's going to be off. Your mood's going to be off. Your hormones are going to be off. Just a whole host of problems if you aren't eating properly, right? So when people come to me, and like I was, they were under eating, but they were either not losing weight or they were actually gaining weight because they weren't eating enough, because they weren't fueling properly and they weren't recovering. So their body was almost backfiring, giving them the, two big middle fingers and telling them, F you, you're treating me like crap. I'm going into survival mode. I'm going to do exactly what I was built to do and what I'm meant to do, and just try to survive what you're putting me through. You're treating me like a dumpster fire. So I'm not gonna lose body fat right now. I'm gonna hold on to it. I'm actually gonna put on some more. You know what I mean? So macros changed my life because I no longer had to restrict any type of food. Now I always, I teach my clients about proper nutrition and what foods they should be eating and filling their diet with, for optimal health. But at the same time, it allows them the flexibility to have, something that they enjoy on a daily basis if they want to. It's up to them, if they want to do this regularly, weekly, monthly. It's totally up to them. It's in their hands. But I teach them and I educate them about proper nutrition so that they make the choice to fuel themselves properly with whole, nutrient-dense foods, because that's what's going to make them feel better, feel the best, operate the best, perform the best, recover the best. You know what? If they want to have some pizza at the end of the day or ice cream at night, or if they want to go out to eat with their spouse, go on a date night, have some wine, whatever, that's totally okay. It's almost like it just releases this weight off of their shoulders. They no longer have anxiety around certain foods or quote unquote bad foods that they've been afraid of their whole life. And it just, I don't know, it just gives them a sense of, well, it gave me at least, a sense of safety. Like I'm not this horrible person anymore. I'm not this bad person eating all these bad foods, and it's okay. Like I'm going to be okay if I have, some chips or some M&Ms or something. I'm going to be okay. You know what I mean? So that's why I love macros. That's why I teach macros. It changed my life. I see it change my clients' lives every single day. So that's what I preach.
Awesome. Well, I love it. Thank you so much for breaking that down.
I totally forgot.
Yeah, you're good. You're right. That's exactly 5 minutes. That was perfect. You're awesome. All right. So Kelly, please let everybody know where they can find you, how they can reach out to you.
Absolutely. So like I said, on Instagram, I'm Will Squat for Pizza. I also have a Facebook page, Will Squat for Pizza. You can shoot me a DM on Instagram. I have a website, willsquatforpizza.com.
We're like literally the same, which is mine's TipsWithToni. It's literally the same. It's the same exact on every platform. Listen, consistency always wins, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Shoot me a DM, shoot me, an email, let's just talk about food. If you just want to slide into my DMs and talk about your favorite pizza, let's do it. Like that's my favorite topic. Food is my first love. So.
Let's end with that. What is your favorite type of pizza?
Pepperoni.
Oh,
God. The only type of pizza.
Oh my God, you're so
all
funny.
Over my apartment, all over my clothes, my house, everything.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Well, once again, thank you so much for coming on. I'm going to get this up probably in about 2 weeks. So stay tuned, guys. And thanks so much for talking.
You're the best. Love ya.
Bye. Wow. Was that not a powerful episode? If you enjoyed it, please screenshot it, tag us, let us know that you resonated with it in some way or another. If you are not yet subscribed to the Tips with Toni podcast, please subscribe, write a positive review. It allows other people to listen to the podcast, to spread our message. It's really, really important and greatly appreciated. Thank you so much for listening. As always, I'm Toni Marinucci, your registered dietitian, helping you get healthy one bite at a time.